In this video, I'm going to show you how to do a critical response. So you all will have a different art image, but I'm going to do this image. So I have the questions here on the side. The first is, what do you notice? And you want to be pretty specific. Don't just say there's a girl in a field, right? So say there's a large field. Whatever's in the field looks really brown. Off in the distance, there's a house, and the house kind of looks old and worn because it's very gray. And there's a few outbuildings, like maybe a barn and a shed. And then I see a fence leading up to the house. And then close up, like in the foreground, it looks like a woman, and she's kind of laying down sideways on her hip in the grass, wearing like a pink dress, and she's looking off in the distance towards the house. And the sky is pretty gray too. So you want to do number one like that and get kind of descriptive. Number two, what does it remind you of? This is just something that it reminds you of in your life. And I would say that this picture, this image, and remember too to tag, right? So you're going to turn the question around, answer it, and then give evidence. So the thing that this reminds me of is traveling across South Dakota on trips, because South Dakota has a lot of like wide open fields like this where you can see a long ways. So you see how I turned the question around and then I answered it. I said, this reminds me of South Dakota. And then I said, why, which is my evidence. Number three, what emotions does it have or show? So again, I got a tag. So the emotion that I think this art has is kind of like desperation or sadness. Now I have to give evidence. Because the way that the girl is laying in the grass, she looks kind of desperate to go to the house. And everything's kind of dreary and gray and brown, and it just looks worn down. Number four, what questions do you have? So like if the artist were here, what would you ask them type of thing? So I want to know, is she alone? Did something happen? Can she not go back to the house? What inspired you to paint this piece? So just have a few questions that you would ask the artist. And then number five, what might it mean? Don't worry, you can't get this wrong. It's just your best guess at what it might mean. And if you get it wrong, really, like I said, you can't get it wrong. But if it's not what the artist intended, it's not your fault. They maybe didn't effectively communicate what they were trying to say. So I think that this piece might mean that something has happened. She was either away from the house or she was kicked out of the house, and something happened, and she's kind of desperate to go back in time. She's sad, and she wants to go back in time to the way that things used to be. And I think that because, like I said, she's so far away from the house, she looks desperate to go back, and everything looks kind of sad. So this is how you do a critical response, and these questions help you to kind of like pick apart or unpack a work of art so that you can find meaning in it. And this will really help you be better at reading images and being able to communicate with images.